Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to beautiful Brazil here in Prea. Today, we're going to be going with the big air format. So what this means is 70% of the trick is scored by height and 30% is scored by technical difficulty. I'm Joe Siash and I'm sat here with Jim Gaunt, main editor from Kite World and media director here for the GKA. Jim, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Thanks for the intro. Here we are, Prea Beach in the Ceará State in the northeast of Brazil. This is the fifth and final day of the GKA Kite-Surf World Tour. It's round number 6, and yesterday we completed in a really exciting climax the men's and women's double elimination. That competition was counting towards crucial World Tour points. This big air competition that we have going on for you this afternoon is really all about pure pleasure and spectacle. So we hope you're going to strap in and enjoy it on this Saturday afternoon wherever you are in the world.
Definitely. I mean, I really like this big air format, Jim. You can see the guys just going big or going home. Also, you know, they're a little bit more relaxed. Main event is done, and I mean, what a spectacle we had yesterday with both the finals from the ladies and from the men. And I do not want to imagine them now cool and collected, nice and relaxed. Let's see how close they get to the moon.
Yeah, cool and collected, nice and relaxed after no doubt big celebration yesterday evening. But what better way to shake that off than some huge airs in the salty water. That's Kiahi Diaboites there, just not making his first attempt. There's no penalty for as many trick attempts as you want. It will be one trick wins it, as Joe said just now. Sorry, 2 tricks being counted. As Joe mentioned earlier, judges are looking for 70% height and 30% technicality.
So you can see Kiahi coming in here, looking for that back roll. Probably was going to want to try the tic-tac on there, but they're just starting to get the groove. I think some of the boys, they had a hard night yesterday, so getting their heads wet and starting to get into it.
Yeah, particularly Ayrton Cozzolino and Camille Delanoy. 2 good friends by the end of the night, no doubt. They spent a lot of time up against each other in what I believe was two of the best kiteboarding heats that I've ever seen. They are available now to watch in full on the GKA YouTube channel, so head over there once this event is finished, and you will not be disappointed, I promise you. 15 minutes of amazing kiteboarding spectacle right there, all in a nice package for you, so head on over there.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Those finals yesterday, I mean, I'm still mind blown to actually be hitting 60 out of 80 possible points of the perfect heat. And, you know, Ayrton hitting 60, Camille Delanoy hitting, I think it was 57 point something on the first final. I mean, it's ridiculous. All of the guys were touching all of the families, going huge, spinning the board. Just such a spectacle to watch.
Ayrton scoring a 10 as well, twice yesterday. Kiahi just landing there. And scoring a 10 in the super final rematch for an unhooked 313, a really, really credible wake-style maneuver, unhooked. If you can imagine that on a strapless surfboard, that is worth checking out. Kiahi going up, kite loop, board off, going to land it. Yes, bringing the kite back around nicely.
So that's going to be a good scoring move. He has a nice height there. Technical difficulty is going to be high. Obviously, you know, his 70% of that trick is going to be scored by height. So obviously, he's going to have a really good score, maybe the 5s or the 6 when it comes to height. And then on the other side, the technical difficulty, kite loop and a board off. So not the most technical trick, but yeah, that's definitely going to be a high scoring move for Kiahi Diaboites here. And you can just see there on the corner of your screen, Pedro Afonso from Portugal. He was doing a nice little grab back roll, just getting back into his groove. And yeah, both of these riders are riding really well with this.
They are, Joe, yeah. And just to give you a condition update, we are in this northern Ceará state of Brazil, and up here at this time of year we enjoy 100% of wind of days in the month. It's around 20 to 25 knots now. It peaks at around 30 knots plus sometimes from 2 to 3 p.m. So conditions are only going to get stronger. The airs are going to get bigger.
There's that back roll tic-tac we were talking about. Kiahi was just you know, sending the board up, getting the board up against the wind, putting the feet there. Then he kicks it a little bit with his leg, grabs it, spins the board for the tic-tac. Not quite getting the grab, but then he would come out with the board underneath him, keeping the board close to the back of his thighs, and then put it on. There, nice little back loop rodeo there from the Portuguese youngster.
Yep, these riders come in from both ends of the experience spectrum. Kiahi Diaboites, obviously a multiple world wave champion, vastly experienced. Just trying that board off move again, trying to get a bit more height.
Yeah.
Pedro is 16-year-old Joe from Portugal. We don't know too much about him. This is, but he has done a couple of events with us this year. So definitely a progressing rider and making a name for himself in strapless freestyle at a good time. The sport, in terms of a world tour in this discipline, is only 3 years old, so very, very, very much in its infancy. You are watching it progress right in front of your eyes. And that's Pedro on the inside there, just making a tack heading out. And we hear the buzzer.
So yeah, we got 2-minute transition and 7 minutes heats here. So the guys, obviously, they're going to be scored on 2 best tricks. They can jump as many times as they want, but only the 2 top scores are going to count. And once again, 70% height, 30% technical difficulty. I mean, we saw Kiahi going a little bit higher, a little bit more technical maneuvers, but then he didn't land as much as Pedro. So, you know, it's all about getting those scores on the board when you can and then building up for them. So, yeah, very good riding from both of these guys, and let's see how they come out.
Back roll tic-tac with a board flip from Kiahi. That is outside of the heat time, but always wanted to keep busy Kiahi. So the format that we have for round 1, not every rider has elected to join the big air format, which is nice. It means we can have a nice compact competition for you this afternoon. There should be 8 heats in this round 1, but as the format runs, there are 2 buys. So it looks like Mitty Montero has already made his way to round 2. Yeah, so 6 events still to come in round 1. Up next we have Reese Mayesko against Pedro Matos.
Really interesting. You can see there's actually quite a few clouds this morning. I mean, early in the morning it had a little drizzle, a little bit of rain, which was actually quite nice to have some freshness there early in the morning to wake us up. But yeah, you can see already out the back the white caps are starting to fill in. Clouds are burning off, and I'm sure we're going to have yet another day of that 100% of 25 to 30 knots, Jim.
Yeah, exactly. We will be updating graphics for you as we go on through this stream so that you can appreciate whereabouts we are in the competition. But yeah, that beach right there, that's Prea Beach. What a beautiful place it is. We're being hosted this week by Rancho de Pêche, now one of the most famous hotels in kiteboarding, no doubt, and for good reason. Right on the beachfront, you stay in beautiful kind of cabanas that are really, really very eco-based. This hotel, yeah, so very little footprint being made, which is obviously great. That is Reese Mayesko from Canada, coming in, charging hard. He is on form. Done every event on the tour this year, and had his best results of his career yesterday. And that front roll shove it, very much responsible for that.
Yeah, nice little back roll tic-tac he had there. Not quite getting the landing. It seems that the wind still has to fill in a bit. The boys are going to have to go out with a little bit of a bigger kite. There you go, lofty, nice little 1 foot. Just once again, remember this is the big air, so they are looking for that height aspect. The technical difficulty, even if you did the most technical trick, you're only going to be scored 30% of that. So Pedro there, going nice and high, grabbing the board, nice and stylish. Not quite landing, hitting the landing, but that's kind of the things we want to see. Getting up into the air, getting that 70%, that would be the intelligent thing to be. And it seems like they're just trying to Reese and Pedro coming a little bit too close there, so gentleman's agreement that everybody's going to give each other a space so that we can get the maximum out of each trick.
Yeah, exactly, and there's no hurry. Riders don't have to register 8 tricks for their scores as they did in the single and double elimination of the main event. It is, yeah, as we said, 2 tricks are going to count. So yeah, that's Reese, as you can see in the top left-hand corner with the Canadian flag. Already up to 8.11 for the big air that he did a moment ago. Into the back roll with a tic-tac, coming in. Can he get the board underneath and redirect the kite? Yes, he can.
That was a good move there. He was looking for that in the one before, didn't quite get the landing, but yeah, keeping the landing correct there. Now we have Pedro going up, same move. Probably a bit more height, but they are not quite getting the landing. Again, he doesn't have the timing of that kite loop is super crucial in a move like that. So when you come down and you actually want to have a combination in between coming down and landing with grace, but automatically getting power and being able to ride out of it with enough planing speed. So a lot of time in there with the board, the kite, and everything going on at once.
Yep, if you're a fan of the Red Bull King of the Air, Pedro coming in looking like he's going to edge up into wind, gets the board underneath the bottom side of the board, helps him catch it, brings it into his hand, but oh, he can get it under his feet.
Oh, the fins on the sand there.
Yeah. Yeah, the technical element of being able to plane away strapless from a lofty, boosty move is obviously quite difficult. When if you've watched the Red Bull King of the Air before, you'll see riders going amazing heights, coming down really, really quickly, but able to plane away. They obviously have both hands on the bar, and just probably about 5 or 10 feet away from the water, they perform what's called a rescue loop or a heli loop above their heads, which isn't a really aggressive kite loop, but the kite spins above their head through 360 and just softens that landing and gives them loads of forward momentum. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult when you only have one hand on the bar, but these riders are managing it to great consistency now, this third year on the tour.
Oh, the fins. Not try. Pedro doesn't seem to quite have his kite in the right place on that move. Again, I've seen him land these really well, even including a little flip. And oh, the dreaded seaweed on the inside there. He's gone fishing.
Yeah, it's really a lot about flow and being in the zone, isn't it, strapless freestyle? The technical elements have been able to steer the kite. When you are fully in tune, you're in tune, and you make it look very, very easy. But it's a fine margin between making it look easy and just losing that forward momentum coming out the trick. But that's what separates the top guys.
Style and ease, Jim. Style and ease.
Exactly. Didn't look very style and easy there, and just saw Reese ploughing his way into the water in front of Pedro there.
Submarining. So here we have Pedro again. I bet he's looking for this back row tic-tac. He normally has that quite under control. Not quite getting the board. Just you can see not just the chop there annoying him a little bit on the release. It seems such a simple, but it's such a technical move. You've got to get that board up in the right position to be able to hit that tic-tac and come down. Reese
tell you what,
going high with some hang time, just losing the important element there, which was this board.
He's certainly found the boost button, hasn't he, in this heat. Interested to see what size kite he's on. I would imagine it's a 10 or 11 today if he's carrying that much height and hang time.
Has to be, yeah. The wind's still, I mean, normally the wind starts really filling in around midday to 1 o'clock here, so we're obviously going to be seeing guys dropping kites, but at the moment, yeah, most of them are on 10s, 11s to be able to get that height, because once again, 70% of your trick will be scored by the height, so an important aspect. There we go. Tic-tac, back row, loop it, loop it. There you go. He's been looking for that one. He'd be happy to have that one on the scoreboard. Yeah,
indeed. As these riders aren't being judged on several tricks, it's just 2, we probably won't see as many of them trying tricks on both their tacks. Doesn't really matter too much. Pedro's done all his tricks so far left foot forward, obviously a regular rider and finds it more comfortable, as we see him making a successful landing this time. No butt check there.
Yeah, that was clean. That was a really nice move. And obviously looks like trying there another one. So really good performance there in the end by Pedro Matos, and Reese was very consistent. Let's see if the how the scoring will be there. I think there's maybe a couple of validation scores there needed, but yeah, very close heat from both of these riders. Reese Meyer-Scott from Canada and Pedro Matos from Brazil.
Yeah, just to break down those 2 scores for you there. So Pedro Matos on 11.66. He has a 7.23 and a 4.43. Look at that. In unison. Strapless Air Force are out today here in Brazil. And Reese's 11.37 comes from a 6.6 and a 4.77. So that has just been updated. Reese looks like he is on 11.87, so 7.1. That's a high score. But Pedro is actually just ahead with a 7.23. So if it was on individual tricks, Pedro would be ahead. But it's 2 tricks counting.
Yeah, very close heat here. Pedro there going for that kite loop rodeo. I really like how they do the kite loop rodeo. Get the board in between the legs, fishing pole the kite in front of you, loop it up. You can see when they do the kite loop, one of the things with strapless, when you complete the kite loop, they push the bar completely out to allow that kite to go back above their head and do that second rescue loop you were talking about, Jim, to be able to land. You can see Reese there, or even no tension in the lines.
Oh, it nearly landed on his head.
Nearly landed on his head. Who needs to land it on the beach when you can land it on your head?
Self-landing. But that's what happens, isn't it? You pull your kite loop, and if it's a really powerful one, it propels you forward, sometimes with so much of a spring that your lines actually go slack. obviously when your lines go slack, you lose elements of control from the kite. You need the wind to then blow the kite ahead of you again to get control of your lines, but obviously the kite can have moved position in the window at that time. So that's Pedro, as we saw him just gliding across the screen on the inside, finding a takeoff position, pretty much pinpoint the same every time that he enjoyed. Reese, meanwhile, was doing all his work out back. There's the back roll with the tic-tac. Just landing nose first. Both riders seem to get away with some nice nose first lands. Did you see that just with the Velcro
himself
on the bottom of the feet there, using the toes just to bring the board back up to hands? That was skills.
Riding that beach like nothing else. And this is the one. There you go. Back roll, tic-tac. He's meters in the air, already has it under control. Gets the board underneath. Starts with that momentum of the kite loop, the rescue kite loop. Really good. And here we have in synchro kiting. Reese, both of them going forward. Really nice style from both of them. Reese coming down. Nice landing. And Pedro, let's see, not quite getting it. You can see he had his front foot a little bit too far forward, so nosediving that board to create that butt check.
But amazing seeing them both go up together. Got a real good handle on the hang time. But up next, we saw him on the screen a moment ago, Ayrton Cozzolino. And you join us with Ayrton Cozzolino, our amazing winner from yesterday in the men's main event. On screen right now in this pure big air competition. This doesn't count towards the World Championship. It's all about spectacle as Ayrton hits the button, sorry. They call him Cozzolino Airways, and I think it's pretty obvious why from that opening trick. Just a big, steezy back roll with a grab. Pretty much cleared the whole competition area, so he's going to have to work his way back upwind. But that's what it's all about.
It's amazing to see how he gets the height on a strapless board. I mean, he's going as big as any twin-tip rider, and I don't care what discipline you ride. In the end, we're all here as watermen. That is impressive, the height he gets in those jumps.
Yeah, you just cannot wrap your mind around it, and you can't get enough of seeing it either.
I mean, yesterday, that 60-point heat he had, we're hitting a few tens, and you can just see him. He's 16.04, already the first two moves. He's got an 8, got a 7, and a 7, so this is a really good heat. And you can see he's coming in. This is what Ayrton loves. This is the show. It's the showman factor, and here we go. Big pop up. Fishing pole, loop it. This is what I'm talking about, pushing that bar out at the end of the kite loop. A lot of people, when you're starting to learn strapless freestyle kite loops, you hold on to that board.
Replay of the first move you see in here. Big back roll with the rodeo, putting the board between the legs, getting it underneath for landing, under the landing gear. Not his smoothest one, so I'm not sure that was the one that counted. Big back roll showing the base of the board to the wind. That's beautiful. The magic ingredient for strapless freestyle. Did you see him just pull on the bar on the end there? He sheets in and out quite a lot, doesn't he? He's such intricate control of whether the kite needs a little bit more forward momentum, so sheeting out there. Did you see the sheet out?
To be able to get that kite back up when you initiating a loop, it allows it to go back up and to stay up as close as possible. That's how they can get that extra little rescue loop, that extra little help, so they can come down from such a height with such speed and then just land gracefully, which is what Ayrton does. Although I would not want to be Ayrton's board, that must be torture.
No, absolutely. I mean, it puts into perspective that Ayrton's riding a Neo, Duotone's wave kite, and wave kites are designed to be fast and speedy and really nippy around the wind window, but he has such great control that it's unbelievable that he's not riding a kite purely designed for big air when you see how high he goes.
Yeah, I was watching Ayrton recently last month in Caños de Meca. It's a really windy place, about 40 minutes from Tarifa. It's actually where the Spanish Armada was defeated by England with Mr. Captain Nelson.
Ooh.
So you're literally kiting over Rex, and you should just see him. He was absolutely nuking 5-meter weather. Ayrton turns up on an 8-meter and was going huge. It's just amazing the control he has, and the way he gets away with it is he just knows where the kite is every single moment.
Sorry, Joe, didn't mean to cut in over the top of you there, but just the foot switch that he did just coming in, he suddenly decided, oh yeah, we can just squeeze that in. Amazing. So he isn't in a heat on his own. We should say the camera guy's obviously enjoying filming Ayrton though. He's up against Anderson Rabucas, one of our Brazilian wildcards, yet to register a score. We did see him just drop into the water just behind Ayrton a moment ago, but Ayrton making all the moves so far. There he is in the background.
Yeah, Anderson Ruboco doing a good performance on yesterday in the double elimination. Really solid rider, very good surfer. Loved how he did those aerial bursts. And there you go, back row, tic-tac. Nice, just not quite getting that kite loop underneath, but that's what we want to see. Remember, 70% height, 30% technical difficulty. Ayrton, it's amazing. Even when you think he's going to miss it, he almost pulls it out of the bag. So much control in every single move he does. So here we have Anderson Rebosas coming in on the inside, going up. Nice little board off, getting the kite underneath him. Not quite getting the land in there, but good to see the local Brazilian trying to hit those heights.
Ayrton tacking out back, heading back in again. And we can see he's very well powered, isn't he? Certainly not lacking in any wind. Look at see the big old fan coming off the back of his board there. Edging up into the wind. Fan's a nice bit of chop. What a boost he got off that one.
There you go. Unusually missing in that trick. I wonder why, Jim. What would be the reasons for him missing that trick?
Nitrous injected that boost, wasn't he? Right from the off. Got a second lift. Of course, is now the world record holder for a strapless freestyle hang time. 15 seconds, everybody, if you can imagine that. And he did that at our last round in Sotavento, managed to hook into a gust, and we all stood watching him on the beach, and he kind of came down a bit, looped his kite again, seemed to hook into another gust, and it just went on and on and on. He actually managed to land that one, so that was at 15 seconds, and then literally just a moment later, hooked into another. There was some freaky gusts going on there, and it actually takes a rider to be able to ride it out. But he went on for another 20 seconds on the next one. Didn't quite land it, so that one didn't count. There's a late back roll, I believe, coming in.
That is the boogie loop right there. How? Just not quite getting the landing. Look, I can see tears coming out of that board, Jim.
Enough already, Ayrton. Come on, yes.
There you go. Nice kite loop there from Robosa. Is really nice in control, going up, getting the pull, sheeting that bar out, getting the ball back underneath him and landing in that chop. Yeah, really good move there for Robosa. Just unfortunately not keeping the kite in the air at the end of that. So that was a good heat from both of them. But yeah, Airline Corsalino showing why he has that nickname.
Yeah, joy to watch. I think we're going to have some highlight maneuvers from that heat. Coming up, 16.04 Ayrton's end tally, the highest heat tally of the 3 heats so far. Ralph Berlin and Yaris Delomo just waiting to take their turn in the water. They are the 4th heat of this first round, marking the halfway point of the first round. 4 rounds of this big air competition coming up, including the final.
Boom. Look at this speed and trajectory he has. He's just going from one edge of the course to the other. I wouldn't be surprised if he lands in Jerry after one of these moves, Jim.
Yeah. Obviously, Jerry, one of the wind sport meccas of the world, not too far away from us here in Prea. Just riding that one out nicely, left foot forward. Here we go.
Fishing pole, looking down, sheets out. Always gets that front foot. Look at the perfect feet position. No wonder he lands them like nothing. So much time in the air.
Spin to win.
It's just that double back loop rodeo he's been trying, just not quite getting the the board back underneath him. And I love how it's not until literally the end of the rotation he actually grabs that board. You can really see how he inverts over the top, uses the wind to be able to land on it, and then just comes down in 2 centimeters of water there.
He's literally surfing the wind, isn't he? That's what's nice to see. Rabukas did in the end manage to get a heat score on the board, so that's good. There we go. That was the one where he got the big boost. Here we go.
Boom, left the kite behind a little bit. And there's that boogie loop, and you can just see the board go, no, 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 no. I really like that boogie loop move, especially that middle picture of the sequence where you just... And we're back. So now we have in the water Ralph Bolin and Yaris Doromo. Ralph put in a really solid performance yesterday. It's, the Frenchman going high, RRD rider, really using every single bit of wind that he could. So very impressive to see. And then also we have this man, front and center, Yaris Doromo from Italy, one of the younger riders, such a talented rider, and his freestyle abilities have improved amazingly. And yesterday was actually, I think the first day we did a small interview of him on the beach, and he was over the moon because he's landed a few new moves actually in his heat. So that just shows the adrenaline and how pumped he was to be at this event. And I mean, this place is perfect. You've got 25 to 30 knots, sunny, beautiful beaches, really nice accommodation. You can downwind until there's no tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, it is, like Mitu said, the kite surfing gym.
Yep, it certainly is. Yaris just making his way around a front roll, not the biggest that we're going to see. Ralph Berlin is his opponent in this event. Ralph from France, lying in 10th position on the main event, World Tour. He's going to want to make amends. Suffered in the hands of a Brazilian yesterday. That's big from Ralph. Is he going to land it? Oh. Bounced off the board there from Ralph. Ralph, one of our smoothest competitors, so expect some silky smooth spins from him. That's not the competitor in the top right-hand corner. That is free rider enjoying themselves here in Prea, just edging towards the competition zone. That's the AP flag. That means that we are just having a pause. Here we go. That's coming down right now, and we are in sequence for the start of the heat. So that's Ralph right there. That actually wasn't the start of the heat, so neither of those two moves are going to have counted, which will be good for Ralph, although he did test the durability of his board coming down on that last landing. Looks like everything is still in working order.
Yeah, Ralph was riding really well yesterday. And that's actually one of the new freestyle boards from RRD. So he said he was super happy with how the board is working, and has the channels on both sides, nice and wide, really good for these choppy conditions. And you can definitely see it's been suiting him throughout this event.
Yeah, absolutely. RRD famed for the light weight of their board. They do 2 lines. They do a slightly heavier construction in bamboo, I believe, but I'm sure Ralph's using the lightest one available, making things nice and easy for himself in strapless freestyle. There's your judging tower. Juan Antonio in the middle there, race director just counting down the watch, making sure that everything's in sync. Here we go.
So red flag, we are back in sequence for heat number 2B of the Big Air here in the 5th and final day at the Prea Pro in Brazil.
Just to recap for you, riders will be scored on their 2 best tricks, and breaking those tricks down. The judges are looking for 70% height, 30% technicality. So this is a show discipline really on the last day here at the GKA Kite-Surf World Tour in Prea. And it's all about going big.
Coming up next after this heat, we're actually going to have one of the more big air orientated riders, Gustavo Arrojo, who had a really good run yesterday in the double elimination, going through a few riders, finally to be put down by Mitu Monteiro. So a very impressive performance there from Gustavo, and he can be very happy with how he performed here in Brazil.
Yeah, indeed. Just before facing Mitu, came through a really, really tight heat against Evan Netsch. Really, really technical heat. Spectacular, that heat. As we just saw, that was Gustavo heading up into the air on the spin. But yeah, we got some big guns coming up in the remaining 4 heats around Juan Gustavo Arroyo. Paulina Pereira, of course. Kiko Ruiz, the young upstart from Spain on a rapid rise of ability. And of course, Mitu Monteiro. But right now, I'm just waiting to see the start of the heat between Ralph Berlin and Yaris de Lomo. The riders have been out on the water for a few minutes now. There was a slight delay in proceedings. That's Ralph on your screen right there, RRD International rider heading out the back. As he turns, the green flag will be going up on his next tack in, so he should have timed this nicely to be able to start the heat, left foot forward, coming into the beach. Just adjusting his shorts out the back there. As we mentioned previously, he seems to ride his harness fairly loose. Many people will be preferred to have a really nice locked-in feel from the harness, but Ralph obviously preferring, there you go. That's professional, isn't he? On the buzzer.
Boom, nice front roll high there for Ralph Berlin. Really good, intelligent way to start off a heat. Just a nice little bit of height, easier move. Front roll normally has a base score of a 4, so he's going to have let's say, probably a 5 or a 6, and then the 70% of that plus the 30% of the technical difficulty. So that's going to be a high scoring move for Ralph.
Yep, and in the first 10 seconds with the score on the board. So riders can't actually see their scores, but they will have some of the fellow athletes and helpers on the beach who are just going to be checking into the live score. They'll be updating them, letting them know just how many points they are ahead or behind. 2 tricks counting. So it is never over until it's over.
We have Ralph coming in, powering through the middle section here of our competition here in beautiful Prea. Let's see what he's got for us. Eyeing up the back of those chops. Let's see. What do you reckon, Jim? Back roll or tic-tac?
It's going to be a back roll orientated trick. Just pulling out of it there. Didn't get the takeoff at all right that he wanted, so didn't waste any effort. Not too far away from his board, although he's ended up a bit further away from his board than I would have thought from a low trick like that. But no rush, no rush. Heats are 7 minutes long, only needing to register 2 tricks. He's up against Yaris de Lomo, as Joe mentioned, riding on a high, enjoying doing competition. Young 17-year-old from Italy, boosting up. Nice big back roll, using the wind to help him come round. Fluid.
That was fluid. Yeah, Yaris, he has a grace to himself. Nice up, inverts the ball, pushes out with that back foot, grabbing the edge, coming round, spotting his landing, and landing with as much speed as he did taking off. Really good, solid performance there for the young Italian.
Yeah, indeed. Ralph short tacking his opponent there, just on the inside. If there were waves around, no one would be enjoying that. But here he goes, back roll with the tic-tac.
No tic-tac there, unfortunately. It looked like he wasn't able to get that grab to spin the board around. Definitely what he wanted to be going for, but yeah, just got caught mid-gust, a little bit off balance. So sure, that's one of the moves Ralph is going to be looking for. Yeah,
recently married, Ralph Berlin. I'm sure Mrs. Berlin is watching at home in France. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Big shouts out to you, Joanna. Hope to see you at the next event. He's definitely going to have to take you to Australia unless he wants a divorce soon.
Hey. Nothing again for Ralph. Just a couple of mistakes there in the last two trick attempts. It'll be interesting to see the live score come up on the top left screen in your moment as soon as the tricks have been registered and they feed into our system. This is the first live stream that the GKA have ever done, and it's been great. So thanks if you have been watching over the last 3 days and seen the incredible action from the main event. All of it can be rewatched again, and we have produced yesterday's main event final, one of the most incredible kiteboarding heats of action that I have ever seen personally. They've been reproduced on our YouTube channel, so you can go and watch those now. The final between Ayrton Cozzolino and Camille Delanoy. But right now we see Ralph Berlin competing in the big air competition, a standalone event, doesn't count towards the World Championship. It's all about kudos for these riders. Ralph landing a double back roll there, just nice. Not the highest, so won't be scoring in the 70% bracket, but it's a pretty technical trick, so there'll be 30% counting towards his trick. But yeah, we are just waiting for the live scores to come up in the top left corner of your screen.
Yeah, it's doing attempting a nice little back roll tic-tac there on the outside before. Let's see if he's probably going to try and do that move again, eyeing up the chop, looking for that ramp there. It looks like he has it there. Maybe you can see it's a little bit lighter today. The riders are having a little bit of difficulty. There's that back roll tic-tac. Not bad. He's going to get penalized at least half a point or a point for that butt check back landing, but that's going to be a nice score, and especially that double back roll before from Ralph. Not the highest of maneuvers, but very technical, spinning twice. There it goes. Nice big front roll. That's what we're looking for. That's what the judges are wanting to see. Height, technical difficulty, control, and obviously the one thing Ralph was missing there was the landing.
Yeah, anyone out there learning to jump at the minute, what you could have paid attention there to was just how sharp his cut-up wind was. I think a lot of, whether you're riding a surfboard or a twin tip, I think a lot of people when they're learning to jump make that cut last just too long. You lose all the impetus from the kite, don't go quite as high, but that was super short and sharp as he was sending the kite up. Ended up getting really great height off that. Yaris powering out through the moguls.
Yeah, it's a little bumpy out there, but that's good. They can use the chop and see. Here we go. Up, away, back roll. Not the highest and most technical tricks, but good to get a score on the scoreboard there. You know, Yaris from Italy, very, very complete rider, and it's great to see how he has progressed. And speaking with him yesterday, he is motivated and amped for the event in Australia and for next year. They go, Ralph, nice, big, solid front loop. Unfortunately, not quite getting that landing again. So I think maybe in the final minutes here that we have of the heat, he is going to be closing in and trying to get that on the land.
Yeah, apologies for the technical difficulties of not having the live score on the heat. So I'll just tell you that Yaris Delomo on your screen right now is ahead on a 9.8 combination for two tricks, 5.23 and 4.57. Ralph is lagging behind, 6.17, but that is definitely catchable because the average heat scores are fairly low in this one compared to what we've seen so far. So back roll with the tic-tac from Yaris. And the reason those average heat scores are fairly low is these two riders aren't just catching the kite round and landing and planing away. Here we go, Ralph with a front roll rodeo this time. Double, just not
quite getting the board under his feet there.
You can see him flicking his head there. Something's not quite clicking together. Perhaps it was a big night in Jerry last night.
You never know. But yeah, it's definitely hard. Obviously, Ralph is the heavier rider of the two here, so these light conditions could maybe tend a little advantage to Yaris. But I mean, Yaris is going hard. He's keeping busy, trying to get a lot of moves on the board. You know, in the end, it's not all about one big trick. You got to score twice, so you can have two average tricks that's still going to beat one big one. So yeah, very intelligent rider and very intelligent riding here from Yaris from Italy.
Yeah, indeed. Not going to find anything that he liked, and that is indeed the end of the heat. We've just heard the buzzer go. So it looks like the man on your screen there, young 17-year-old Italian Yaris Delomo, is going to be progressing through to the second round of this big air competition. Big air competition not counting towards the World Championship standings, but when we come to a really, really consistent, regular location, the events run generally over 5 days. If we get wrapped up early with the main event, then let's crack on with some more action and run a big air competition. No pressure on the riders, all about the show. And we hope you're enjoying it on this first GKA live stream. As the camera is panning to the right upwind here at Prea Beach, I mean, just look how big that beach is. And this is just a very, very small section of kiteable terrain here in the northeast of the Ceará state of Brazil. Thousands of kilometers available for downwinders here, and you can just see why there's so much adventure kiteboarding that goes on in this part of the world. Yellow flag It's not a yellow flag here at this event. It's a yellow
board.
square, yellow
Yellow
board
square.
being slotted in there just to the left-hand corner as you look at it of the judging tower.
Yeah, that's, I mean, such a nice judging tower we've got there. You can see Juan Antonio and Danny there looking into the box, looking into the magical box, giving us all those wonderful scores for these heats. And yeah, really, I mean, privileged view there over the beautiful beach of Prea. Such a good setup here, and we can be thanked to Paolo and Pedro and everybody that's made this event possible. Amazing event here in Brazil. We've had the ventilador blowing every single day, hasn't failed yet, and touch wood that it doesn't fail us today. It looks like the white caps are there on the outside. We will be praying for a little bit more wind. We want to get more to that 25-30 knots, which seems like the forecast is going to play in our favor, to see these guys touch the moon on every single maneuver.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming, no doubt. This place is like clockwork. That on your screen right there is the man that we talked about, the Spaniard who is running hot at the minute, Gustavo Arroyo from Tarifa. Does every event with us for the last 18 months, and you can see the caliber right there.
Boom.
Hitting the big switch straight from the off, landing with more control than either of the riders perhaps managed in the last heat. So yeah, he's one to watch.
Yeah, really nice, just lofty jump there, Gustavo. He goes huge. He's one of the guys that is a big fan of riding fast and going to the moon. So great to see him starting off with a big, nice, simple pop up in the air. Not the most technical difficulty trick, but obviously intelligent rider, because 70%, once again, 70% is almost 3/4 of the score there, and then we have the 30% technical difficulty. So using the most of the height to be able to get a high scoring trick, and it'd be interesting to see what the judges are giving them.
Yeah, so basically what that means is we want you to go as high as possible, but you have to do something while you're up there. So
lofty back roll with a grab. Once again, Gustavo, you can see going those 2 or 3 meters higher than the riders we've seen so far. So, guys like Edson Cosolino and Gustavo are getting it. And really nice rodeo there from the Italian Paolo Aurelio. So stepping it up, kind of saying to Gustavo, yeah, we can go high as well.
Indeed. Often it's pretty amazing how these riders are going so high on strapless surfboards, so no straps or boots on that board. But if we just watch, and when we see a guy get it absolutely right and kind of go into a slow, lazy back roll, they're showing the base of the board to the wind, and so there's very little drag, isn't there? I guess if you're showing the board to the wind, surfing the wind round as you go, it's only going to get you higher and higher. Here we go, just as we saw there. But bringing in some more technicality here, Gustavo. He has a straight air on the board. That's nice. That would have been good in a regular heat.
Yeah, that was a nice back roll rodeo there. Just, jumping up, getting the board in between the legs, doing the back rotation and continuing there. Another nice rodeo there from Paolo. Not quite sticking the landing. Seemed like he had a little bit on an initial issue getting that board in between the legs, just not quite pulling that move together.
No, it looks like he will. He has a registered a score now, 6.23 for Paolo, and but it's Gustavo Arroyo on your screen there. Has moved into the front, registered 2 tricks already. 5.4 plus 4.5 equals 9.9. So nearly breaking into double figures for Gustavo. Ayrton with the highest heat score so far, almost up to 20 points for 2 tricks, wasn't he? Incredible. I think he was around 17 points, so that gives you an idea of the standard of the competition so far. Gustavo checking his watch there, 7 minutes this heat.
Making sure he knows and making every single second count. Is he going to jump? Oh, trying to do a little jump over the buoy. I'm actually impressed that nobody's done that yet. I would have been, normally these boys, as soon as we see them, they're going to be trying to jumping over obstacles and using them as bouncy castles. So obviously Gustavo making the most, and you can just see them. I mean, in the end, all of us are in this sport gym to have fun. It's about the stoke, it's about the smile, and it's about that family vibe on the beach with your mates.
Yeah, just a nice Sunday session for these riders here. I guess if you are watching this live stream, unfortunately it's not windy where you are, otherwise you would probably be out for a session, but what other better way to spend your Sunday afternoon than just getting some inspiration from these strapless freestyle riders. If you're learning tacks or your jibes. Not necessarily jibes. These riders tend to favour attack on the inside or on the outside, keeps them nicely upwind in the competition area. But if that is a manoeuvre you are learning, you're going to see plenty of them this afternoon.
Nice back roll there, no grab from Paolo. It's one of my favorite moves, how they just go up, invert the board over themselves, put that tail into the wind, and then kind of like Mr. Miyagi karate kick it around and land with grace. So we see Paolo on the outside. Both of these riders seem to be making the most of the inside sections to jump. You see Gustavo here, he's coming with some speed. Hair blowing, come on Gustavo, how high you gonna go? Rodeo, kite loop, pulling that bar back, sheeting it out. Does he land it? Perfect landing. That's a really good trick. He's very happy with that, smiling to the crowd. Hair blowing from left, right, and center. Good score there for the Spaniard.
Yeah, he's untied that mane, I notice, today, Joe. This competition not counting towards the World Tour. He is in a battle for 5th place on the World Tour. So serious yesterday, had everything tied back. But, yeah.
So obviously those extra wings, mate. The hair would just get him that extra meter, so he's loosened it up and it's all out.
Exactly. I mean, this is a big air contest, so I guess, you know, it's blowing nicely behind him might give the judges just a little bit more of a clue about how big he's going, how much forward momentum he's carrying through the air. Everything helps.
Every little helps. Every little helps. So we have him again going. Paolo on the inside. Also kite loop. Oh, submarine. Not quite getting the rotation on that. He halfway through bailed, and I think he just went, that's going to end in tears. I'm just going to let go of my board and not try to get it. So really good determination there from the Italian. And I've seen Paolo in strong winds. He doesn't think twice. He goes bigs or go home. And unfortunately on that one, just not quite getting the landing. You're supposed to land on your feet, not on your face.
Yeah, indeed. Checking out the fish at the seabed. But yeah, Gustavo from Tarifa, used to kiting in Poniente and Levante winds. So well-rounded rider as a result. Obviously, Tarifa is a production factory for competitive riders. Many champions having come from there. But yeah, Joe, just tell us about it. So obviously we're in one of the wind meccas here in Brazil, but Tarifa, kite capital of Europe, no doubt. 2 wind systems going on over there, and it seems to be a hotbed of talent for strapless freestyle, isn't it? Yeah,
I mean, Tarifa's a very consistent place. You're going to be kiting 3 to 4 days a week. It's probably maybe not the most common place for very, very stable winds. Gusty is the day-to-day there in Tarifa. Poniente is more of a low-pressure front wind, cross on shore, very similar to conditions we have here, just a little bit colder. And then you got the Levante, which is the hairdryer coming from the land, cross offshore, but can get up to, we actually broke a record this year when hit 86 knots, Jim.
Wow.
And like, this is what we always laugh. You'll see on the news, you know, stuff like, oh, there was 40 knots and, you know, ports were breaking down and everything stopped. And 40 knots in Tarifa is every other day. So it is a place that can hold a lot of wind. It is a Venturi effect. It's only 16 kilometers from Morocco. So you can see how the wind just pushes through and explodes out the outside, the other side. So yeah, really good place to, if you want a European holiday. And then the food, the day life, the night life, just the vibe the place has. I mean, for me, it's home sweet home, and recommended to anybody to come for a holiday or a visit.
Yeah. Amazing place. But right now we are in Prea as the camera pans back. Sunday spectators having made their way down. It's around about lunchtime here now, 20 to 2 in the afternoon. This competition is going to take around about another hour and a half to get through. We have the women going out today as well. After that, Gustavo there just making his way back up to the landing zone. Low tide at the minute. The tide is on its way back in. It's going to fill in over those seaweedy bits. Their confirmation, 10 meters kite size the riders are using at the moment, which is a decent size. Moves into the kind of bigger kite bracket, I guess. Throughout the week, we've seen them on 8s and 9s, so indication of a little bit less wind at this hour of the day, but as we say, it does pick up. Gustavo riding for Nash, opting for the pivot. An all-round kite, and that is the kite that Kevin Langaway, of course, won the Red Bull King of the Air on this year, famously switching from the torch to the pivot. Has now won the King of the Air on both kites, so you can do your own calculations on how much difference either of them made. But Did say that he opted for the pivot because it's more of an all-round kite, and you want to be comfortable. And when you're comfortable, then you can ride harder and harder. And that's the kind of style of kite that most of these strapless freestylers are riding, something more of a wave element. This is a combination tour. We do have some pure wave stops. We started the tour in Cape Verde. So obviously riders preferring to get used to one style of equipment, not switch up and have to get used to too many different feels, too many different variations of pull in the way that the kite travels.
Here we have on screen, oh, synchronized kiting. Nice and equal to both. That is insane. That's the way to start a heat. You have Paulino there with a big back row, and you got Kiko Roy with that front row board off. You can see the smile on both of their faces. Paulino known for his power and height. This is going to be a good heat. And the young gun, Quiquet from Valencia, living in Tarifa, proving himself in this event, forced to be reckoned with, and we're going to be seeing big things with him. But he is against powerhouse Portuguese man, Paulino Pereira. Let's see how the youngster goes up with these high maneuvers.
Incredible that. I haven't seen very many clips at all of riders that much in unison. So our filmer and editor, Mintautas Grigas, I know is tuning into this live stream at the minute on the audio. So yeah, can we have that clip for social media later on, please, Mintautas? Because that is going to share really, really well. I love that stuff. Forward roll from Kike.
Nice front row rodeo there from Kike, getting the height, putting the board in between his legs, spinning round, coming down with grace. Good scores. Those are from both of the riders that are going to be having some good scores. And let's see, Paulino, I imagine, is tacked up the top and is probably coming back. Yeah, you can see the wake. Look at the speed he's carrying, the wake behind him. I reckon Paulino, we're probably going to see a boogie loop in this heat, Jim.
Yeah, Paulino, we're looking to see a little bit more from him. He's had a disappointing competition so far, usually one of our strongest performers, but I don't think he won a heat here in Prea, which is just goes to show you the caliber of the improvement in the riders. Paulino going for a back roll with a tic-tac, coming in, looking to get a score registered. Oh, sorry, he did have the first score registered, didn't he? So just looking for the looking for a variation there. That's Kike in the back with a little shove it at the top.
Oh, front row, board off, tic-tac, not quite getting the landing. Seemed to have a little lull there in the middle of it, but yeah, good performance here from the young Spaniard, and he's definitely improving day after day, and has been in Brazil for a week before the contest. He's very happy to be here. One of the first actual trips he's come out of Spain, so he was over the moon and smiling left, right, and center. We go. Board off, tic-tac, getting underneath him. Paulino, very nice, smooth landing there, so very good score there for the Portuguese man.
Yeah, to give you an idea of Paulino's pedigree as well, he was the first rider to land Boogie Loop, which is the highest scoring trick of this big air event so far that we saw Ayrton Cozzolino doing with good effect earlier on today. But Paulino was the first rider to land that in competition, and that got right under Ayrton's skin. And yeah, didn't take him long to be the second man to land it, obviously.
He wasn't happy, though. He wasn't happy.
He wasn't, was he? Yeah. Paulino was pretty happy. Let's see what he can do here. Coming in, riding fast, left foot forward, bouncing his way through the chop. Needs to find just a little section to be able to cut upwind. Looking for a nice little ramp off to his left.
There we go.
Watch for his right hand, sending the kite backwards for air. There it goes.
Boom, up. Looking to get that tic-tac just a little bit cleaner. The one he did before, just dragging his arm a bit, not such a clean landing from Paulino. And like we said, hasn't been having the best event performance that we usually used to seeing Paulino. But I mean, you can't be on top every single event. He's such a complete rider. Also, when he's not competing, he's not a fully dedicated competitor. He also is a mechanic for the Portuguese Air Force. So if anybody knows something about flying, it's going to be Paulino. And then we have Quiquet on the back. Front loop, rodeo, coming down in a bundle, not quite getting the board underneath him. You can see him looking at the shore, wondering what's happening, and asking his colleagues. I can see Giuseppe, the duotone team manager for Spain, is also out here, loving the fact of being in these warm Brazilian waters. But Giuseppe, it's 1 week and counting, and you're back in Spain with a wetsuit, so make the most of it while you can.
So just to give you a verbal update, as we don't have the visual update for you of the live heat scores at the moment, they are coming. Apologies for the delay in that. The technicians are on it. But both riders have the 2 required points on the board right now to tricks being judged. So it's now all about finding improvement. Paulina Prea 14.6 as a total. Kiko 12.96. So it's close. Close. One above average big landing is going to move one of these riders into the lead.
Boogie loop, boogie loop, boogie loop, boogie loop, boogie loop.
Haven't seen him do it right foot forward, have we, Joe? Unless I'm mistaken.
Oh, who needs a boogie loop when you can touch the moon with a back loop?
Yeah.
That was impressive. I love that back roll from Pauli, and he just goes up inverted, keeps the board underneath, but extends, gives it that little bit of style. Such a complete rider. And I mean, have you seen Paulino in the waves? He absolutely destroys the faces.
An animal, isn't he?
It's actually one of the few riders in our event in Cape Verde and Sal to have a 10-point ride. And Kiket saying, you might be the 10-point ride surfer, but I'm going to jump over the top of you and look down. So impressive performance here and confidence from the young Spaniard.
Yeah, super credible wave riding conditions that we had at round one. Well overhead high at Punta Preta, wasn't it? And Paulino just linking turns, super vertical. And that is also available as a standalone video on the GKA YouTube channel as well. Definitely worth checking it out to see the other side of this tour as we look for...
Clunk.
Clunk. But yeah, so this tour, this isn't counting towards the World Championship, this big air competition that we're running today, just to let you know. But the GKA Kite-Surf World Tour is a combination tour. We're looking for the most complete surfboard rider. We do have pure strapless freestyle stops as well as pure wave stops, and we have mixed destinations as well. This is a 7-stop tour. We climax in Australia next month in Torquay, close to Melbourne. Kike just not finding it still, but he has moved into the front, Joe. He's just moved ahead on the scoreboard here. Yeah, 15.06 versus Paulino's 14.06, so it couldn't be closer. One trick. He's going to take it down. Can one of them just find something a little bit different?
He's looking for that height. You can see Kiket. I think he's looking for that from... Oh, Paulino. Does he come out? No. Didn't quite catch the thing. There you go, Kiket. Nice front roll. Tic-tac. Unfortunately, not getting the landing on that one. So he's going to need to collect himself, get himself back to the shore, tack out, and give that one go. I think that was the closest attempt we've seen from him yet. But unfortunately, that's the end. There's the buzzer. So by the looks on our screen, unless we need to validate one more score, looks like the young Spaniard has just edged through that heat by a 1-point lead.
Yeah, Paulino just making his way back into the beach by boosting his way there. You can see just putting his head into the water there, perhaps not as satisfied with his performances here as we've come to expect. But he will be back. He'll be back in Australia and charging. One of the best riders to see on a free session in waves, as you say, Paulino Prea.
One of the moves, my favourite moves from Paulino. He goes and does a solid bottom turn, comes up vertical through the face, smacks off the top, and actually lays the tail back and does like a 360 entry off of it. So smooth, so complete, and just links that trick. He's got that real surf style to him. I mean, coming from a place like Portugal, he is used to waves. He's grown up with waves, and a solid freestyle twin tip rider as well. Recently, he had a few days in the famous lagoon of Kauwipi, the birthplace of so many twin tip freestyle moves, and you see him doing some of the old school front blowing mobs and slim chances with power. So very complete rider and one of the main riders for Ozone, so great to have him here at our event.
Yeah, still the poster boy for most of their adverts when it comes to twin tips in terms of doing most of the freestyle spreads for them. So he is the rider. If you see him in the ads, it's usually him. So yeah, one of the most complete riders in the sport then, I guess, if you're looking at guys who cross over and still have ability, high level of ability in both codes. But yeah. So who do we have up next, Joe?
We have here Lawrence Meyer-Kitten from Germany against Leonardo Loro. Leonardo Loro from Brazil, residing in Australia, had some really nice impresses. Remember those nice pop air reverses. And Lawrence Kitten not having the best heat in the double elimination, but very, very talented rider. And then we have Leonardo on the back, starting off. Nice little back roll, not too high, just getting that score on the board. And let's see. Lawrence probably going to appear in our screen here on the right. I could see him going out. There he is. Let's see what he's got for us. He's looking for the chop, but maybe not quite finding the magic spot to do that first jump. So tacking in, coming back. Let's see what he's got for us here on the inside.
Yeah, Lauro made an impact, didn't he? He's Brazilian, now lives in Australia. You can see he's got obviously loads of experience in waves. He has a kind of fast, whippy style. Ooh, just the kite hidden a gust. And difficulty is when you're steering the kite one-handed, of course, sometimes the kite tends to move across the window if you're not pinpointing your accuracy, and that's what happened there, just pulling him away from his board. But yeah, riding pretty aggressive wave boards is Lauro, so likes the way they hug and grip the water. Lauren's riding for Ocean Rodeo on their Jester board. Seems to work as well backwards as it does forwards, looking at the shape of it.
Yeah, Reece Myerschott has a lot to do with the development of that board. He's seriously involved in it, and you always tweaking it, and very complete rider. I mean, Reece yesterday doing such a good performance and having some of the nicest front loop shove-its we've seen of the whole event.
Here we go, puff of the cheeks from Lauro, goes up, just a little foot switch.
Little foot switch, simple trick, not getting so high. You really have to have the mindset for these big air competitions, because in the end, 70% of it is scored by height. So no matter how, you can do the most technical trick 2 centimeters from the water, and you're only going to get a total score of a 30%. So it's better to go, you know, the extremities are never the best idea. Always stick in the middle, so you want a combination of height and technical difficulty, and that's going to take you through the rounds here in this big air competition in Prea.
Yeah, indeed, that's Lauro on your screen right there on the white core kite. Finds himself right at the bottom end of the competition area. We switched the camera right there to see Lawrence, who's all the way upwind, so that basically means with the wind blowing on your screen from right to left, Lawrence has a lot of room to play with there. Lauro at the opposite end of the box is going to have to work his way back upwind.
And we're back. Sorry there, guys, just for the multi-rainbow. Nice little bit of colour in between heats, Jim.
Psychedelic.
So there we saw Lawrence just initiating a jump there, not quite getting the landing, unfortunately. He's been having a little bit of trouble in this chop landing. He's used to training a little bit flatter water, but yeah, I've seen him freestyle and freeriding a few sessions, and definitely has had a big improvement. Obviously, competition experience. One thing is freeriding, another thing is competing. 2 different kettles of fish.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's Lauro, just still making his way back up in the competition area. Looks like he's made himself enough space to try another trick, but that's the thing, isn't it? With the big air, you are traveling downwind quite a bit, and if you make a couple of mistakes as well, the wind kind of does blow you downwind ever further while you're looking for your board. There we go. He does that nice little switch, doesn't he? And still keeps the board nice and high. Puts a little grab up there at the top. Keeps his core tight, keeps the board high. Just needs to get it back underneath him a bit more. He's landing a bit too parallel with the board at the moment.
See Lawrence eyeing up the chop there, trying to get home. Still hasn't scored a trick on the board. So let's see.
Come on, Lawrence.
Lauro only has had a 4.67 and a 3.33, so in the 7 to 8 point average. So obviously we can see Lawrence still to land a trick. Needs to start getting a few scores on the board, because we are coming to the final minutes of this heat. Here we go, up, rotation, front roll. Nice little 1 foot, unfortunately. Doesn't quite get that kite with the forward momentum. You need to, when you're doing those landings, you need to make sure you have the kite positioned as you're coming down in front of you, or either looping underneath you. That way, as soon as you land, you have power and you ride out. The faster you ride into a trick, the easier it is at the end, but obviously you have to have the balance abilities and the perfect landing abilities, not such a big margin of error. So you have to take all of these things into account to be able to complete that perfect trick.
Yeah, 2 riders with quite similar sounding names. This is Lorenz Karls Kittel from Germany. The other rider that we are referencing is Lauro, but that's his surname. He's a Brazilian living in Australia. So on your screen right there, the German just obviously getting frustrated, keeps having to body drag back up to his board and try again. Meanwhile, that's Lauro on the core kite, on the white core kite and the red board coming in. Custom-made red board, not sure what it is. Seems to charge with plenty of aggression. Lauro just wiping away the drips of salt water off his nose. Obviously getting a bit of spray in the chop there, hitting him in the face, which Nobody enjoys, do they? There he goes, another piece there. Here we go, come on, let's find a little bit of space for a trick. No, looks like he's still heading upwind. Little foot switch jibe on the inside. Is he going to find a ramp that he likes the look of? Let's see. Squat stance. Getting his way outside on the hillside rail. Edges upwind nicely into a front roll. Keeping the score moving. I'm not sure if that is going to affect his 8.5. Certainly not in terms of height. 4.67 plus 3.83 at the moment for Loro. Carl Kittel has registered a score now, just a 3.53, so it's not looking too optimistic for him at the moment.
So just some results in from those finals heat. We're having a slight couple of technical difficulties here. So in that first heat, we had in between Chiahi de Boitis and Pedro Afonso, Chiahi advancing. Then in between Reese and Pedro Matos, Reese Meyer Scott going through that heat. And then afterwards, Ayrton Castellino prevailing against Anderson Rebosas from Brazil. And one of the surprises, Yaris Del Olmo, the little Italian, has made it through. So he will be going up against his countryman, Ayrton Castellino, next heat. Nice double rotation there from Lo. I really like how he bends those knees in those front rolls. It looks really stylish and very 0 to 100 max speed in nothing.
Yeah, just while you were giving us a welcome update there, Joe, on who's progressing, who's making it through, I think Loro landed a nice big floaty back roll, so I think that's going to add a little bit more to his score just before the double front attempt there. But it does look like Lawrence hasn't quite done enough. Carl Kittel, the German there, on your... If he lands this one, he'll be gutted because it's outside of the heat time. Oh, but he didn't, so... He won't kick himself too much there, but we'll be disappointed not to have registered 2 tricks on the board. But this is a knockout competition, Joe, this afternoon, so that will be the last time that we see him. So that was the final round of round 1. That was
the final round of round 1. So yeah, obviously very good performance from all of them. So next up, we're going to have Chiahi de Boisis against Reese Meyer Scott, then Ayrton Castellino against Yaris de Olmo. And we'll be giving you a few more results after this quick commercial break.
Welcome back, everybody, to the GKA Kite-Surf World Tour Round 6. We've just completed the final round of round 1 of this standalone Big Air exhibition competition. And Reese Myersco is the Aboites on the inside there, just not quite making it with a front shove it. But with Chiahi on the way out.
Smiling between these guys. I mean, it's all of these guys are friends, and they love seeing each other rip. So Chiahi on the outside there, back row. There you go, Reese, nice little floaty back roll. Bit of a butt check there, not quite getting the landing. You really have to land on top of that board to be able to ride out smoothly. So yeah, unfortunately not quite registered in there, but he already has, does he have a trick on the board there, Jim? Yes, he does. So we have Reese has a 6.7 for that last maneuver.
Heading out back, right foot forward. I'd say many of the riders have tended to be doing more of their tricks coming in. I guess left foot forward is just about the more preferred stance for many riders.
Back row, tic-tac from Mr. Aboitis from Australia. Perfect landing. He makes it look so easy.
Yeah, lazy Sunday morning for him, isn't it?
Definitely. It's one of the things with Chiahi. He just has that natural style. No matter what he's doing, at what point of the trick he's in, he just has that natural ability to make everything look graceful and easy.
There's the tic-tac, trying it, but more as a shove it, isn't it, at the top, not using his hands for the initial rotation. Really, really impressive move when that goes right. Obviously, the move that James Carew used to great effect to win the big air competition in Sotavento. Instigated the move at that event. Huge back roll with a shove it at the top. Managing the landing with a rodeo on the way down, and then a rescue loop to land at least 50, if not 80 yards away from his takeoff spot and in top spot. They're not in the competition today, Joe.
No, unfortunately, yesterday mid-heat. There you go. I really like these things from Kiahi. Even very similar to what Evan Netch does. They have that. They tweak it. They have that little bit of style. Really nice to see how they make the simplest of moves. Sometimes it's better to do a simple move well than a hard move not so well.
Just very, very aspirational. That would have been a double page in any magazine, that little tweak there from Kiahi. The idea of this competition is to help riders develop, take strapless freestyle tricks into wave riding situations, and you could imagine that off the top of a lip, couldn't you? Kiahi, a two-time wave world champion, no doubt one of the most respected wave riders in the world. Crosses over into stand-up paddling as well. He's no slouch there, and surfs backdoor Hawaii as well. So
if you haven't, his feet and he's a happy man.
If you haven't heard of this man and you've been kitesurfing quite a while, you will have probably seen his videos, but perhaps not associated the name with him. Nice back roll there, just steady, isn't he? How relaxed does Mr. Diaboitas look?
He's having fun. He's just cruising and perusing.
But Joe, little update. It's Reese who has the lead in this heat. 12.23 versus Kiahi's 11.1. Kiahi may have been wowing us with his style, but this is a big air competition, 70% judged on height. Kiahi needs to find the boost button a little bit more.
Trying. He's been wanting to get that James Carew move there, that toe side air 5. But like you say, Reese going huge, double tic-tac. That was a back row double tic-tac, landing a little bit in a bundle, but that's going to be scored really well because once again, this is a big air competition. It's about getting that 70% score from your height and 30% score from your technical ability. And again, on the back there, you can see Reese going high again, so he's probably understood the concept a little bit better than Kiahi, and Kiahi knows he needs to go for some higher maneuvers.
Yeah, we could never say that Kiahi is short on understanding of concepts, but looks like he's just having a nice session out there. A month ago, we would have said that Kiahi was coming to this heat for the surefire favourite, but Reese has improved so much in the last month, it's quite unbelievable.
There you go, that's better. That's nice, big, lofty back roll.
Beautiful to watch that, wasn't it? So fluid. It's almost like the kite doesn't really come into play, just surfing his way around there the whole time. Reese looks well powered, doesn't he? He's got that low squatted stance, edging the rail hard. Just looks like the camera's paused there. Not sure if you can still hear us, but.
So make sure you tune in for the live stream on the GKA YouTube and Facebook pages for the...
Sorry for the slight technical difficulty there. Event won the single elimination and then lost twice in the final of the double elimination against Ayrton Cozzolino, the one and only. But look, really, really happy with his performance. Local rider. Absolutely showed that he can dominate his home turf. French riders lived here in Brazil, Prea, for the last 7 years. Right now, we are still in the heat with Kiahi Diaboitas and Reese Myerscough. We'll update you on what's happening on that one in just a moment. Looks like Reese has slightly extended the lead. Kiahi, we cut out there going into a big back roll. Obviously not judged to have been quite as high as Reese is. Reese on 13.57, Kiahi 11.1 average heat scores for the competition so far. And Cozzolino with a 17-point average. in the competition so far, setting the standard as usual. He will be up again soon in round 2. We're reaching the pointy end of this competition. Just 2 more rounds to go. So get yourself comfortable and get ready, because the semi-final and finals are going to be pretty impressive, with the 4 best riders who will be competing for you on this Sunday afternoon.
Going high, going big, and trying to touch the sky.
Yeah, indeed. We do expect the wind to pick up as well. It's almost coming up to that time that clockwork the winds here are in Prea ramp up a little bit more. Obviously, as they do, the riders start going higher and higher. And we'll see the more consistent riders as well entering the competition, coming back in the in round 2 and then the semi-finals. Mitu Montero had a bye in the first round, so he still hasn't appeared yet. Obviously a crowd favourite and a really popular rider from around the world, one of the instigators of this discipline. So get ready for his rich and deep bag of tricks, Joe. Always on show. Always
on show. And now coming up next, we're going to have Mr. Airline Cosolino going up against Yaris D'Olmo, the young Italian. Both of them doing a very solid performance. And you can see the kites are still quite big, like you say. The wind does not go wrong here. It will be at that 25 to 30 knot period, just a little bit further on in the day. And we can see Yaris there riding really well. Here we're probably going to see him with a nice front row. And there you go, Yaris up. Nice smooth landing back row, and we saw Ayrton flying through our screen there as well. Both of these guys, very good riders, and obviously Ayrton Cosolino, congratulations for being crowned the winner of the double elimination yesterday after beating Camille Delanois twice.
Yeah, and where Ayrton is dangerous. Well, here we go. Slower boogie roll that time, just coming in. Is he going to land it?
Oh, not quite, just hitting that chop. It's those inside little kickers. Sometimes they can be your best friend or your worst enemy. Best friend to be taken off on, but worst enemy when you see one of those coming underneath your board as you're landing.
Yeah, Yaris does stand a chance in this heat because it's only 2 tricks counting. Obviously, where Ayrton is so dangerous is he has so many tricks in his locker that, if he's got to do 8 tricks in a heat, they can all be up in the 8s. Makes it very difficult to catch, but if it's only 2 tricks, can he find a couple of bits of magic, Yaris? Lock into a couple of big gusts, make the most of them. Doesn't look just like it at the minute, bit lumpy out there. Looks like there's a little bit of a lull just in that section there, but right down in the bottom corner of the competition box there, the white boy in the bottom corner. But he can take off in the competition box, land outside it. Often Ayrton does that. Ayrton, just as we watch him flip his board over before riding away and then untwisting his lines from that loop. We can update you that it was Rhys Myerscough that won the last heat against Chiahi de Aboites. So early bath for Chiahi on Sunday. Rhys will be seeing him again as his impressive run of form continues. Good one to win this big air competition. Doesn't count towards the World Championship, but all about kudos, and sponsors are definitely going to be happy to see their rider progress, still hungry for competition.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a really interesting discipline, and especially how the sport has progressed over the last 6 months. The height aspect, I think Fuerteventura was a pinnacle point where these guys were actually starting to realize how high they could go, and it was after that big air comp there that we started seeing a lot of these riders just starting going bigger and better with more technical moves. Really good to see the riders going high, and impressive to see how high they can go.
Yeah, he put good riders in conditions over 30 knots, and it is a spectacle. Fireworks going off everywhere. But yeah, Fuerteventura, 5th stop of our tour. Kite-Surf World Tour has been on the tour for the last 3 years. Shouts out to René Egle, the organizer for that event. Has hosted windsurfing World Cups there for the last 25 years. A big supporter of professional competition, and is without visionary event organizers like him, that the sport of kitesurfing would not have World Cup events as we do, which gives us a chance to see riders like Ayrton Cosolino in action, mesmerizing riders and inspiring them around the world. That with a big rodeo kite loop, not his biggest, but again, just showing us his consistency in landing, traveling nicely down the competition box. Look how fast he rides, Joe, constantly at Mach 10, isn't he?
Boom, up, back roll, flip. Nice landing. It's like you say, you can just see how he accelerates through the water, looking for that little kicker, looking for that speed. You can see Ayrton, he's just having fun. He loves this. I mean, he is known as one of the biggest, highest jumpers in the business, and as we saw yesterday, hitting more than a 60-point average on his score, has such a big bag of tricks, and one of the few riders to have hit 10.0 maneuvers yesterday.
Yeah, what I respect about all the riders on this tour, this strapless freestyle tour, is just how many hours they enjoy riding for. Ayrton, he must be one of the fittest athletes in the sport, because he spends so many hours riding with this ferocity, at this attitude, all the time, all day long. Just doesn't ever tire of it. His ankles must be beaten. I reckon he's got steel cables in there, to be honest with you.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever gone to dinner with Ayrton, but it's probably better to get him a present than treat him out to a dinner, because the amount of food these boys chow down. I'm not surprised if you're going that high every single moment of the day. The energy it takes, and like you say, the amount of physical discipline that these guys have on and off the water is insane.
Packs in the carbs, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Needs the fuel.
Rancho de Pesce kitchen, no doubt a bit lighter on the food front after having fed these riders for the last week. And of course you and I, Joe, and what a pleasure it's been. Enjoyed a lovely fish curry last night.
We did, that was good. Yeah, the fish here is amazing. It's literally fresh out of the sea to our plates, and yeah, it's gonna be hard to go home, Jim.
It is. Fortunately for me, I'm not going home, continuing on a 500-kilometre downwinder up the coast from tomorrow. So I need to do my exercises and get my legs in shape, but that is going to be incredible. Doing it with Surf and Some Femme, who are coordinated with our event sponsor here, Rancho de Pesce. So shout out to them.
I thought he was going to ride out of that. That was a really nice, just front roll rodeo kite loop. Just pretty, simpler move for Ayrton. Looping more the kite on top of his head instead of in front of him like the boogie loop. Just getting it around. Just unfortunately not getting that little bit 1 meter higher to be able to get the board underneath his feet. But still, 13.97 average for Ayrton, 4.3. For Yaris going, it's a nice little tic-tac. Does he land it? Just not quite getting the board underneath his feet. Spinning it a little bit, 180 extra, not coming down. Here's Ayrton going up. Tic-tac. Is he going to hit the flip? No, but nice and smooth. Comes down. The kite control of Ayrton is where he really excels over a lot of riders. You see him going through the air. Doesn't matter if he's upside down, backwards, sideways. He always has that sixth sense of where that Neo is. Yeah,
reached over 17 points in his last heat, just for 2 tricks. Can he exceed that this time? I don't think that one's going to take him any closer. But what's sensible about Ayrton is he understands that this competition, this particular one that we're running here today, the Big Air one, 70% on Big Air. So it seems to make sense to come in as close as possible, because for perspective, it looks like he's going much, much bigger rather than tricking out the back of the heat box. But that is why he is current world champion, understands the game. But could do tricks, on a puddle if he was meant to. He literally doesn't need much space, does he? Although he would have to jump puddle to puddle. But here we go.
Back loop, rodeo, just chill, cruising and cruising, looking at where he is. I mean, you could give Ayrton a door and he'd be doing strapless freestyle, and it's amazing to see. And Yaris de Olmo here, really nice control, such an impressive rider, how he's progressed. And, at a young age, it's going to be great to see him in the future here in our World Tour. There's that fishing pole I really like. Sheeting the bar out so that kite gets above his head, doing that rescue loop we were talking about. Great move there. Yeah,
the importance of commitment on a kite loop. As you can see, once you pull the trigger, just keep on pulling until that kite's gone all the way around. Obviously, for Ayrton, the kite will go round, and then what really impresses me is if you get to stand on the beach and watch him, just how much his kite moves back and forth. There's Mintautas's drone. Did you see that? Nearly taken out, and that could have been a nasty crash. Could have been an expensive one for that drone. No one would have liked that. And this is the last. There it is. Look. Close, but we are heading to a break now, and just landed himself, no doubt, into the third round.